Thank you very much, Andrew, for organising this evening, and thank you everybody for coming out, and also I extend my welcome to my fellow competing candidates. I can assure you that it is a pleasure to compete with them. The warmth of the handshakes, even though we have different party platforms, I can assure you is very refreshing. I would like to start by acknowledging the Anzacs. They're the ones who have fought, and many have given their ultimate sacrifice of life so that you and I can meet here so freely tonight in this land, this great land of ours. My background is that in engineering, electronics engineering. I have been employed for a large part of my working career with the Roads and Traffic Authority in traffic projects, computing systems, project management, and also security. And I stand here tonight as a husband and a father of 4 young adult children and 3 grandchildren. I'm concerned for them, the children and grandchildren particularly, because I will have left this world in a few decades' time, probably. But what sort of a world are we going to leave our descendants? I see that our phones are now wireless, our cars are keyless, the tubes in the tyres are tubeless, the education appears to be valueless in many areas, many youth are jobless, the attitudes of so many people are careless, feelings are heartless, relationships are meaningless, too many babies are fatherless, some politicians are absolutely shameless. Our country has become godless, and I'm speechless. In half my lifetime, Australia has seen our culture polluted, our values assaulted, we've seen morality decline, we have seen God dethroned, our country overwhelmed by incompatible cultures in the name of tolerance and inclusiveness. And our generosity, it seems now, is rewarded by some fanatics who are hell-bent on our destruction. Those who dare to express any concerns are demonised as extremists for holding on to those proven and time-honoured values and principles that our forefathers fought and held for generations, and indeed our Anzacs have protected and so many have died for. The Christian Democratic Party, which is who I'm a candidate with, continues to stand for Christian values in this country, and I point out to you, it is the legal foundation of Western culture. Our policies reflect that wherever possible. I stand with CDP to fight for a godly government, not only for me, but particularly for my descendants. Now, there are many people who don't seem to want to hear the truth. They just want constant reassurances that what they believe is the truth. And that's something of great concern to me. Let me turn now to Hornsby electorate, and particularly the sorts of issues that I see are of concern here. We have an overdevelopment of high-rise housings along transport corridors that's been forced on us by the state governments. There's many people who object, and council is powerless to do anything about it. The placement of ventilation stacks for the M2 to M1 tunnel link is of great concern to many residents, particularly around the Pierce's Corner area. And I would also wonder, seeing that there's a road reserve through the bush for an expressway, why is that not being used rather than tunnelling, which is expensive to do and also a continuous maintenance expense with ventilation and lighting. Not to mention the security aspects of having, I think it's about 9 kilometres of tunnel, and the difficulties should something really dramatic happen in that tunnel. Poles and wires is a subject that has been in the political news lately. If CDP was elected, we would insist on a full independent inquiry, and that independent inquiry must demonstrate that there would be distinct community benefits, including a reduction in power prices, before any leasing would be supported. Security. We've all been very concerned about what happened in Martin Place just before Christmas. CDP would support one law for all. We see that at present we have a loss of national identity, and in having one law for all, it starts from the very top. Taking an oath in Parliament, are you going to take that oath on the Bible, the basis of our laws, or are you going to take it on some other book? Some have taken it on the Quran, I believe, and it's been treated as a rather interesting and novel approach. But the problem is, where do you stop? Playboy? Woman's Weekly? What else would you like to take an oath on? Special privileges we see are being handed out at sporting venues and airports. Halal foods are being thrust upon us. And if you think it's optional, well, go and be a patient in RPA or be a passenger on Qantas, and you'll find your meals will only be halal. We need punishments to fit the crime. We've known about the Cronulla riots. The punishments certainly didn't meet community expectations. We seem to have the convicted being rehabilitated while the victims are neglected. And there's other issues. I think I'm just about out of time. Coal seam gas mining for the wider New South Wales is of great concern to us. The CDP is terribly concerned that more than 50% of the state has been signed up to mining rights, but it appears by stealth, because previous governments have not made that known to the public. Education. CDP would support an education voucher system for parents to enable them to choose the schools they wish to send their children to. And finally, support for the natural, God-given definition of marriage and the sanctity of life. It's interesting to know that we hear so much about equality and can't discriminate against the homosexuals because they wish to get married, in inverted commas. May I point out to you, there is no discrimination. The rules for them are the same as anybody else. As long as you qualify with age, being singular, of the opposite sex and not a close relation, you can get married. There's no discrimination for homosexuals. They may as well go out and do other more useful things like try and invent some anti-gravity fluid or design a magnet with two north poles. Fred Nile has been our leader in Parliament for 34 years, an unblemished record, and I support him. I encourage you to consider voting for CDP also.